Good morning, church. We're going to look at 2 Corinthians 8 this morning, where Paul speaks of this beautiful sacrificial giving that I mention at times at our church and mention. I've often had coaches tell me to give 110% when I was growing up in Park League ball. And I used to think coaches don't understand math. There's no 110 of anything. But then you read the Bible and there actually is. 2 Corinthians 8. Now I want you to know, dear brothers and sisters, what God in His kindness has done through the churches in Macedonia. They are being tested by many troubles. They are very poor. These are poor churches in a lot of stressful situations, a lot of persecution at that time. But they are also filled with abundant joy, which is overflowed in rich generosity, persecuted and poor, and their testimony is generous and overflowing abundant joy. Isn't that cool? Paul says, I can testify that they gave not only what they could afford, but far more, and they did it out of their own free will. They begged us again and again for the privilege of sharing in the gift of the believers in Jerusalem. They even did more than we had hoped, for their first action was to give of themselves to the Lord and to us, just as God wanted them to do. So it actually says in the text they gave more than they could afford. New American Standard says they gave beyond their ability. That's more than 100%. They gave beyond their ability, according to their ability, and then beyond their ability. That's a pretty impressive deal. How is that even possible? Well, it's because at the end of the text you see very clearly they gave of themselves to the Lord, and the Lord became the flow of abundance out of them. You have to give yourself to the Lord to be a faithful, sacrificial giver, and you have to choose to be a giver. It actually says they begged to give. It is possible, if you're living for God, to give out of poverty, to give out of your poor state, whatever you think you don't have, and to give more than you seem to have. That's very clear in the Bible. I have several good friends who just pour out their gifts to other people. It's pretty impressive how they do that, and they don't seem to have anything. I'm always amazed at how much they can give out of the very little that they seem to possess. And these believers did that. Actually, in Acts chapter 11, there's a little verse recorded in 11:27. In these days, the prophets came down from Jerusalem to Antioch, and one of them, named Agabus, stood up and foretold by the Spirit that there would be a great famine over all the world. This took place in the days of Claudius. Verse 29. So the disciples determined, everyone according to his ability, to send relief to the brothers living in Judea. So they're going to take care of that famine. The churches are going to take care of the churches that are in need. And they did so, sending it to the elders by the hand of Barnabas and Saul. So these churches that were poor, Macedonian churches that were poor, reached out to these other churches that had needs, and out of their poverty they gave faithfully. So I pray you won't do math like a lot of us tend to do math and try to figure out how to give out of your riches, but give out of your poverty and give of yourself fully to the Lord first, and beg God to help you be a good giver. You guys be blessed today, and let's just learn that we can give from nothing. We can give from nothing. See you back soon.